All right, Cass, what's happening?
Cass, I'm not even kidding. I don't know if it's the screen, but you look like you've got a beard. But what's going on with her face? Ruesha Littlejohn, League of Ireland's Player of the Month.
Surprise, surprise.
Don't you know, things will change, things will go your way.
You would be expecting Littlejohn to start that game. Chelsea deserve to win. They've got the domestic treble. I called it all, Cass.
You did, yeah.
So, I don't know what you owe me. You probably owe me a sushi samba.
You probably owe me about 5 years worth of rent, Ru. Does this gap just only get wider now, Rush? I mean, is this a problem for the league?
Serena Williams attending the games too. That's humongous.
Can we take a moment for Erin Cuthbert? Holy guacamole. Barcelona, Arsenal. We haven't seen Arsenal in a final in quite some time. When Arsenal are expected to perform, they've been really disappointing, especially in the league. But they've used this Champions League as their springboard. Now they're in the final. Now they're looking and going, oh my goodness, we're here.
You've got to be very careful when you're handling football clubs because it matters to a lot of people. People do still have a problem with, you know, taking direction from perhaps me, and you take it into your personal life as well. For us, there's no degree of separation because business and family, it's all combined, and it's always my fault. We're rebuilding a squad, so any footballers out there, please send me an email. Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing? And welcome back to The Kickback. My name's Shebahn Aherne. Joining us on today's show, we'll catch up with Ruesha, the evil twin sister, in Ireland today. Chelsea sealed their domestic dominance with an FA Cup win over Manchester United. So we'll obviously look back in that. And we're going to look ahead to another huge weekend of football as Arsenal take on Barcelona in the Champions League final. Plus, Chief Executive of Mansfield Town, Carolyn Radford, joins me in the studio to talk about being a woman in the men's game. We've got lots in the way from you, and we've spoken to some of the biggest faces across football and rugby ahead of a huge summer for women's sport. So you'll hear from Alessia Russo, Niamh Charles, Ellie Kildunne, amongst many, many others. Big show on the way, stay tuned for that, and lots more on The Kickback. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're pushing towards monetization on the Kickback channel, so please give us a subscribe, give us a like, and jump in the comments. I hope you've had a good week. Hope you enjoyed the FA Cup final. Chelsea just doing Chelsea things and wrapped up the domestic treble, a first for Sonia Bonpastor here in England. Over in Ireland this morning is Ruesha Littlejohn, League of Ireland's Player of the Month.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
Oh, look, we could do like a music video together.
I could just be a backup
Somebody's gonna
dancer.
make you want to turn around and say goodbye. Till then, baby, how you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know, things will change, things will go your way if you hold
think everyone's unsubscribed now.
on for one more day. That won't happen again.
Right.
And welcome
Sorry.
back. How are you, Cass? I know you've got a bit of a tickly throat. You're not feeling 100p.
It's not a tickly throat. How dare you be so disrespectful?
You don't
I've got a
half
sore
milk
throat.
it.
It hurts. Can you hear my voice? It's actually sore. I'm gonna cough. It's that pathetic wee. And I was on the plane coming back last night, and I was honestly in the middle seat. It was like the heating was on. It was absolutely pumping sweat, and my nose kept running. It was horrific. But anyway, I'm okay now.
How did you feel about Chelsea at the weekend? I thought, just quickly, that it was going to be a really exciting game. We watched it together, and then it just kind of, Man United didn't go for it, I feel, in the second half of the game when they should have done.
I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a good first half. And I think it's quite even in the first half. Obviously, Chelsea score right before half time. Did that kind of, that's a great time for a team to score, but maybe that just deflated United a wee bit. I think when Millie Turner coming off, I'm not sure if she took a knock or what went on there, but I think that changed, and I think Dominic Janssen not being in midfield kind of disrupted the rhythm, because I think she was bringing that sort of aggressiveness to the midfield, and alongside Grace Clinton up against like Erin Cuthbert and stuff like that. So I don't know if that just changed the dynamic of the game. But then obviously if the likes of Littlejohn comes on, and you would be expecting Littlejohn to start that game. We spoke on Ella already about how she loves a big game, and she's great at delivering in big games, scoring big important goals. So that was an interesting one. But yeah, the second half, then you could just see Chelsea they grew in confidence, and you could just see them starting to purr a little bit, and then the floodgates opened a little bit. United will probably be disappointed, going, that's harsh, but it just shows you the quality of Chelsea. But once they get going, they can really punish you. So
yeah, and then you're right. I actually don't know if there was a little bit of you get that kind of Man United. They got that feeling they were going to lose to Chelsea. And, they didn't create any chances, really, in that second half. Just that one chance, really, from Littlejohn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
I feel like they obviously had the belief in the first half, but it's like they just then, the second half, they sort of ran out of ideas, and they struggled to create anything. But is that then a credit to Chelsea and how good they were and how organised they were? They were kind of breaking down anything as soon as United were trying to get in the attack. So, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, Chelsea deserve to win. They've got the domestic treble, and am I right in saying that I called it all, Cass?
You did, yeah.
So I don't know what you owe me. You probably owe me a sushi samba.
You probably owe me about 5 years worth of rent, Rue.
That's not. I've been paying my rent, and I've not been paying it for the last 2 months since I've not been there.
Well, we did sit and get lashed, didn't we, on Saturday night? Rue came back.
Yeah, that wasn't meant to happen. I don't know what happened.
I know. Rue came back from Dublin, and she came in, and then I was like, oh, I'll get her a wee curry because I feel sorry for her sometimes. So I got her a wee curry and a bottle of Whispering Angel, and then we just sat, and before we know it, it's 3:45 in the morning. So I think the first half of the game, I remember being like, okay, yeah, this could be a good game. And then the second half, I was so shattered. And United didn't do anything, that made me go, yeah, Chelsea just ran away with it. And it wasn't the exciting cup final that I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I mean, now that Alexis Ohanian, Serena Williams' husband, has got his stake in the club, 10% stake in Chelsea Women, and they've run away with it so easily, really, this season, in the WSL and here in England. I'm like, does this gap just only get wider now, Rush? I mean, is this a problem for the league?
I mean, with that, you go, yeah, that's someone that's wanting to invest and be like, yeah, I'm part of this journey and I want to keep them there. Is that the way the game's going to go? It's going to be all these successful people as investors coming in. You see the likes of Michelle Kang at London City. So this is going to help Chelsea out massively. But Cass, did you not see? I don't see Serena Williams anything. What did I see yesterday? Coming back here, Serena Williams TikTok, and it's her just like getting ready, going to the game, and I'm just like, how bad's that? Like she's sitting with different lipsticks, trying them on, and then she's got like her, she's at the game and then going home, and I'm just like, that's actually mental that they have someone. Obviously, it's her husband, but then Serena Williams attending the games too. That's humongous.
Rush.
Like that's actually just putting Chelsea again on a whole other level.
Well, his plan, I mean, he's a multi-billion guy, you know, Alexis Ohanian. He founded Reddit, you know, the website where you can just put your thoughts and opinions and whatever like that, and forums, whatever you call it. But, you know, he's a big deal, and I think it's people like her, like she's like a tennis player who transcends tennis. You know, she's one of those global superstars. So to see her sitting cheering on Chelsea, she's in the dressing room at Wembley at full time. You know, I think it's Valentine's Joyce from United. There's, you know, she's almost in tears because Serena, even though she's, you know, now part of the Chelsea family, she's in seeing them, and I'm like, you know, the little things like that make a huge difference because they bring more eyes to the sport in a sense, and also she's just such a winner. You know, like when you've got winners at the top and winners on the pitch, I imagine then the club just breeds more of that. And I did have a look online about some of the opinions and some of the thoughts. I read some of the journalist articles post Ohanian buying this stake in the club. And now I'm a little bit concerned for all the other teams. I mean, obviously, there's disappointment for Chelsea this season, Rush, because they didn't win the Champions League. But they can't be disappointed at their season as a whole, you know. But now I look in England and I'm like, who gets close to that? You know, they've already got record-breaking players coming into the club before his money has even hit their account yet. That's mad.
I know what you're saying, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Does that then become the battle of the people at the top, where you look at then like the likes of Manchester City, where they were reigning for so long there because they had like this all the money from the, what am I allowed to say here, in Saudi and stuff like that. That's the way the game's going to go. So it's like, if you don't have people, you'll get left behind. But however, I get what you're saying, it becomes a bit unfair. That's the way it is. You just hope then it doesn't become a huge stretch where you start to see then the gap is getting even bigger at the top end of the table to the bottom. That's the only worrying part for me, because then the WSL will become a bit of a, I don't know how you close that gap, and then do you have to look at another format? Do you have to half the league during the season, like the way they do in Scotland? But I don't think anyone wants to see that happen right now. In the WSL, because you want to keep it competitive with like the best teams, but money talks, and if you can't compete and just go and pluck whatever best player you want out of the air and whatever else comes with it, in terms of staff and access to the best of the best facilities and just what you need for a team, for the performance, then you're going to get left behind. So I don't know how other teams catch up. But I know what you're saying, it's concerning, but it's the way the game's going. Maybe it would be something that would have to be addressed at some point. But what does that look like, and when would people intervene?
In fairness, like I am not criticising this. I think it's phenomenal for Chelsea women. You know, I think it's absolutely incredible for them. You know, this is their 6th consecutive title that they've just wrapped up. This is their 2nd domestic treble in 5 seasons. So, you know, it's not as if like he's just went, it's not like a Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney at Wrexham thing where they've went like, okay, what's a club that's absolutely struggling and the town is on its knees, and, you know, what they've done is completely different. Like, he's come into an already successful club looking to make it a franchise, you know, like $1 billion franchise. When you bring along the likes of Serena Williams, wifey for lifey, you know, the franchise instantly grows, more brands, more investment comes in. So yes, Chelsea will get richer from this, you know, absolutely. And I just don't know who they turn to next. Are you looking at Bon Mati? Are you looking at Pates? Like, what's the story there, you know?
But is that a sign of they're here to stay, like, and they need that investment to now take it again to the next level and try and become European champions? Because they've not done that yet, but as a sign of that's where they're going to get to, and they're going to stay there and dominate Europe for X amount of years. I take it that's the goal.
Yeah.
Because they don't need them for the league right now. They don't need them for domestic. We already know that about Chelsea. So is this just a statement of intent to where they're actually heading now?
I want to speak about European ambitions in just a second, but can we take a moment for Erin Cuthbert? Because you had a lot to say about her on the weekend, but I had a look through just some of her accolades yesterday. You know, 26 years old, she's now won 2 domestic trebles, a domestic quadruple, 7 titles, 5 FA Cups. She was the player of the match on Sunday, and, you know, why is she underrated almost?
Right, so this is it. This is a thing. This is what happens when you come and play maybe in England. So you're coming to the WSL territory. I'm sorry, but Erin Cuthbert has been doing this for years. She's been doing it for years, and the thing is, her Chelsea team know that, and her Chelsea teammates. But for what, it's probably because she plays for Scotland, so she doesn't get the recognition that maybe she deserves because she's playing in a league where there would be Lionesses playing. So obviously attention maybe turns to the Lionesses because they're English and it's an English league, which is understandable. So the media and hype naturally automatically goes on to them players, and you see the likes of maybe your Kim Littles and Erin Cuthberts and your McCabe's and your Leah Volties and your like other players like that are actually quality players for big clubs. They kind of don't get the praise that you would if you were English. But the thing is, in the Chelsea team, they know that Erin Cuthbert is an absolute star, hence why she's won what she's won, and she comes up trumps each season for them. So it's like now, but it's only now that other media outlets are starting to jump on and go, oh wow,
Who's this?
Erin Cuthbert's a great player. And it's probably came to like the likes of the people on comms, like your Farrah Williams or your Alex Scotts that are now doing the games and watching it and going, oh yeah, like what a player. But Erin's not done it. Yes, she's probably got better over the last few years too, because she's still young and developing and just getting better with better players. But that's always been her. Yeah. She's been a winner. She has been a winner, and she goes in probably with that, I'll show you because I have to keep proving. Yeah. Well, she doesn't need to prove to anyone now, but like it's just that she's got that mentality in her. I'll show you. So Erin's always been doing it.
It's funny because you mentioned like the international stage, Rush, and how sometimes if you play for a smaller nation like Scotland be considered like a minnows in terms of like World Cup football. I look at like when Ada Hegerberg, won the Ballon d'Or, she weren't ripping up trees in the international stage because they weren't flourishing then. So do you think people like Kim Little, not just focusing now on Scottish players, but Kim Little before, like how has she never been nominated for a Ballon d'Or? When you look at what she's done for Arsenal over all of those years, having gone away, playing in the NWSL, and the likes of Erin Cuthbert, like these players must be recognised by the media here because that's what's right. Like they should be recognised for that. And you're right, sometimes I do look and go, because we're here in England, a lot of the English players, be it they've had an all right season or whatever, they get the first cap and everyone's like, this is the new best thing. But as you look at somebody who's won 6 consecutive titles and a mainstay in that Chelsea team, they deserve more coverage, not just on the days that they get player of the match.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, in my opinion, the player of the season or the PFA player of the season has got to be Erin Cuthbert. Because how can you argue with that? Like the games that she stepped up on, but she's been doing this consistently. Yes, she had a wee injury setback during the season, but then she comes back. She's got all this more competition. The team's got stronger and she goes in and cements her place back in there and becomes the leader. Like she is actually the heartbeat of the Chelsea midfield. She drags them through it. She's happy to get her hands dirty. She's happy to get stuck in and graft, do the ugly work. But then she's also got the moments of magic and little bits of quality when you need that too. So totally, but yeah, that's the way it is. And I get what you're saying about the whole Ballon d'Or stuff. That has to change. And I think women in the game know that. People at the top end of the sport also know that. But that's the process again. How does that become right? I don't know. There's a lot of players that have slipped under the radar that don't get enough credit. I'm trying to think of names off my head there. But you could actually sit down and look at teams and go, wow. But that's the way it is, and then I guess that's up to idiots like us to sing people's praises and hopefully get a bit of attention on them.
Yeah, Cass.
I mean, I've been banging the drum for Erin for years. I know. So I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. I've been here.
Maybe you should get your Barn Door award and put it on that empty shelf behind you, Cass.
It's just that I could have tilted it around, Cass, and just see me and all my awards just there. award, rabbit, award, dildo, award. Do you know what I mean? It would have been pretty special.
Oh, I love that. Right, speaking of special, huge weekend ahead, Rush, Champions League final. Holy guacamole. Barcelona, Arsenal. We haven't seen Arsenal in a final in quite some time. Going up against Barcelona, who are going to win it 3 years in a row. That's their ambitions. What's your thoughts?
Right. I feel that I'm quite strong on these thoughts, and then I don't know how sometimes where you've got that thought, and then you're actually like, oh, I was miles off it there.
Yeah, I know that feeling a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd cast that as actually just you as an everyday person, kind of miles off it. But I'm like, I feel like Barcelona, they've been here before. It's just another final to them right now, and I just feel like they're going to go and want to wipe the floor with Arsenal and just make show we are the champions of Europe still. And yous have all got so much work to do to catch us. And then you've just got Arsenal we have nothing to lose. We're the underdogs. We've spoken on it before. Is it the year of the underdogs? So they're going to go in, but at the same time, they're going to need to deal with the occasion, the nerves, and then just getting up to speed and playing against the likes of Barcelona. And they've not played Barcelona in a long time. So it's when you're exposed to that, you have to be absolutely on it. And you're needing to ride your luck, and you need them to be off it a wee bit. And I'm like, are they going to get all them 3 things on that day? I just don't know if that will happen. So I'm going to go with a Barcelona win. But I hope it's a good game. And like we said, Arsenal have got nothing to lose. There's players in that squad that will have the kind of mindset and not the arrogance, but the belief. Like you've got Kildunne in there, who's played with Barça. She's won it with Barça a few times. But then you've got other players in there, like any of them Lioness players would be like, well, we are, I'm a Lioness, I'm English, we don't bow down to anyone. We'll go toe to toe with these teams. Like when you see England play Spain, like that's a good competitive game now. But I just don't know if you can go toe to toe with Barcelona right now when you haven't really played them regularly, because I feel like you just leave yourself open to be sort of ripped apart. I'd like to see Arsenal obviously press them in moments where they can, where there's pressing moments from goal kicks and throw-ins and, kind of really getting at them like that. But then I'd like to see them just kind of fall in and really try and frustrate Barcelona and go back to making the game ugly if they have to, and then relying on the likes of Kildunne for a moment of magic, Russo to get them up the pitch and hold the ball up and get support up and just maybe change it a wee bit. Not going too far away from their style, but I think they're going to need to do a bit of that to actually compete and stay in the game. That's important. Stay in the game as long as possible.
Well, speaking of which, Alessia Russo has been speaking to the Kickback earlier on in the week ahead of the Champions League final. Here you go.
Huge game coming up for you, Arsenal-Barcelona in Lisbon for the Champions League final. I mean, that sounds amazing to even say it. How are you feeling at the moment about it?
Really excited. We've got a couple of weeks training now leading into it, so we've just been enjoying training. It's not often that you get such a long time to build up to a game, so I think we're all wanting the game to come round, but it's good that we've got some time to prepare and time to just enjoy the lead up to it. And yeah, we're happy that we've extended the season for a little bit longer, and yeah, we'll be ready to go when it comes round.
And we all know how good Barcelona are, of course. They demonstrated that against Chelsea. What are you expecting for them, and how are you going to go about kind of trying to mitigate that threat?
Yeah, I mean, they're a world-class team full of amazing players that have won at the highest level consistently. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough. But I think our journey in the Champions League this year has been incredible, and this is where we deserve to be after what we've done. So yeah, it should be great. I mean, obviously, we'll be preparing and working hard over the next week or so. But everyone's really looking forward to it.
And of course, Arsenal are the only team ever to have won the Women's Champions League in its previous format, of course. Is that something that's been discussed at the club in the kind of build-up to this?
Yeah, I was actually saying just before that me and some of the girls were watching the highlights of that game when they won it at Boreham Wood. So it's crazy to see that was the last time, and the players that were playing in that, it was crazy. They were so good. So it's nice to have that as a bit of history in the club and something that we still look up to as current players. But no, it's what we want for the club. It's where we deserve to be and what we really want to keep pushing. And yeah, I came to Arsenal and love being at Arsenal because of the club in general, and to be able to represent them in the Champions League will be incredible.
Brilliant to hear from Alessia Russo in detail there ahead of the Champions League final. Ru, I have this feeling, I'm having these thoughts. I think if you think with your head, what we know from Barcelona, as you've just mentioned there, they're such a tough team to go toe-to-toe with. They know how to step up in high-pressure environments and big moments, and they're looking to win it their third season straight. But one thing we do know about Arsenal this season is that Arsenal are better when they're under pressure. Arsenal are better when they're actually expected not to do well. Talking about even Real Madrid, going back to earlier on in the competition in the Champions League, coming back from defeat, bouncing back, then going to Lyon, bouncing back in Lyon's backyard and being comfortable then in that game. And I think if you look at what they've done this season in terms of goal scoring, Rennie Slegers in the all-out attack, which seems to work pretty well for them. If they can just capitalise on moments when Barcelona might defensively switch off, they could do some real damage against the champions. And, Russo's the prime example of somebody on her day and who has been brilliant this season, but they've got that secret ingredient, maybe that secret weapon with Mariona Kildunne, player of the season, who's won the Champions League previously twice, with Barcelona over the last couple of seasons. And I just think when Arsenal are expected to perform, they've been really disappointing, especially in the league. But they've used this Champions League as their springboard. Now they're in the final. Now they're looking and going, oh my goodness, we're here. We've made it to this point. Now, as you know, it's the beauty of a one-off game. Anything can happen. They've earned their place to be here. So whether they can believe enough in themselves and go, we can win this competition, you know, it's capitalising on those moments. But I think maybe because they are the underdog, because they are under pressure, because it is bloody Barcelona, that maybe Arsenal might throw up a bit of a shock.
Spit it out. Jesus, that took you about 20 minutes, man. But right, anyway, what you were saying, Cass, I totally hear what you are saying.
Thank you.
But I just feel like, I know what you're saying in Arsenal, like Alessia Russo has just said, they deserve to be there, and they do, because of they really put all their focus into the Champions League and they turned a few results around, and credit to them. They got there, they had that, they were able to do that because of how the league went this year for them, but they really capitalised on that and they've got to the final, which is absolutely unreal. And they'll have the mindset of, this is a game of football, anything can happen. And they've got to have that mindset going into this game because, well, if not, what's the point in being there? I just look and you look at the last, 4-5 games that Arsenal have played in all competitions, and they've leaked goals. They are leaking goals, so they're vulnerable too. And that is where I'm worried when you've got the likes of, the Barcelona midfield, the three of them between them have a combined 100 assists and goals between them, and that's the midfield. And then you look at the forward line, so I go, I would also be like concerned, and I'd be going, we cannot get exposed defensively. That's why I'm like, they might have to bank up a little bit and they might have to change their shape or just be more reserved and stay in the game. And it's going to be I'd expect to see, I don't know, Barcelona could have an off day and possession might not be what you think it's going to be, but I do expect Barcelona to absolutely dominate possession, and Arsenal will have to be composed and focused. But I just don't know how they'll do it because they don't play like that. They don't do it. And I feel like if the squad were all on the same page going, Barcelona, we have to bow down and accept that they are absolutely great and they're ahead of us right now because they've been consecutively performing in high-level tournaments for years now. Do we go, okay, we have to respect that and let's kind of just change our identity a wee bit for this game to try and frustrate them and stay in the game. That's all. That's my only concern. They've been leaking goals and Barcelona like to score goals. However, we know Arsenal can score goals. I'm not saying they can't, but I just think they have to be a bit more reserved and stay in the game for as long as they can.
Okay, Rue, well, we'll catch up with you soon. We'll talk it all through next week. Oh, and well done in the international call-up. We won't see you next week. We'll be watching camp all the same.
Okay. Well,
right, Cass.
have a great show, guys.
Love you. Bye. And joining us now on the kickback, Mansfield Town CEO Carolyn Radford is here. Carolyn, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I have to say, you walk in here and you just take the room. Is that?
Oh.
You do. You're like a very, very commanding presence.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then I think of you in football and I'm like, wow.
Oh, no, well, behind the scenes, I'm kind of just like paddling away. But yeah. No, it's. I think what I've found in football now is just to be yourself and not take it too seriously, if I'm allowed to say that. To enjoy the highs and, the lows then, which invariably come, don't hurt you as much. Although that's what I say, but actually they still really hurt. So do as I say, not as I do.
And tell me about Mansfield Town, your journey into the football club.
Yeah, well, I was just saying before, it's 15 years now. So quite a long time ago. And we've done really well with the football club. I think we've kind of changed the whole place. We've made everybody proud, to support Mansfield again, put it back on the map. We took it from non-league, so it was the conference as it was then. basically a shell of a football club in terms of the business and the product on the pitch. And we've gone to League Two, finally got promoted to League One last season. And then this season, I was like, could we just have like a little steady ride? But no, we were like kind of battling relegation. So yeah, we like to have extremes, I think, at Mansfield.
I mean, it's such a difficult league, though. You know, it is an
it
absolute
was
slog.
Exactly. Well, we had like Birmingham, we've had, you know, the Wrexham royalty, and there's some huge football clubs, you know, in that league, as there is in lots of leagues. You know, you look at League Two, and there's a lot of clubs there that really they should be much higher. Yeah. But yeah, it's a strange thing, football, isn't it? It's unpredictable.
Yeah, I could only imagine. Do you think, we were just discussing this earlier on, Chelsea women, Alexis Aherne, the founder of Reddit, the husband of Serena Williams, has just bought a 10% stake in the club, hoping to make it $1 billion franchise.
Yeah.
When you look at the stories of Wrexham and Birmingham, the big Hollywood stars coming into the club, do you want that for Mansfield Town, or does that just change things too much?
Well, I think you've got to be competitive to a degree, but I mean, really, well, John, my husband, he was from Mansfield, so he rescued his local club, and really for him, it was a case of it not, you know, going into oblivion. And also, he's a business person and wants it to do as well as it can do. And I think it should be really nurtured. You know, you've got to be very careful when you're handling football clubs, because it matters to a lot of people, especially, for example, in Mansfield. It's, you know, football means the world to the people of the town. And so it's brilliant to put them on the map, but they shouldn't be a plaything. And yeah, I don't know. It's something. Football is entertainment at the end of the day as well. And I think that as long as they're going into it as the Wrexham lot are, you know, with good hearts, and be prepared that it is hard work and tiring, and you know, it takes over your whole life, consumes you, then they should go for it, enjoy it.
Can I ask you as well, you know,
Yeah.
I've been in conversations quite often, you know, with, I don't want it to be negative, but where, say, men just don't trust the idea of women in their football clubs.
I know.
How is that?
It's still really difficult. I mean, even I really struggle, you know, in terms of navigating my way through of how best to do it, because obviously it's our family business, I guess. And people do still have a problem with, you know, taking direction from perhaps me. They would rather it come from my husband. And then I've also got to balance, you know, being a supportive wife, and also making sure that, you know, my ideas, you know, get taken seriously. I don't know if there's I think the more women are involved with football, then that's really positive. But then at the same time, you know, we're all juggling a lot. And I certainly haven't got the perfect recipe of how to, you know, your child's sick, you're this, you know, there's all sorts of family things. And that's, you know, equally important. And often we're the caregivers that are there, that have to, you know, you get back doing the dishwasher, putting the washing in, and we're all doing the same, you know, whether male or female. But it is still a struggle, I'd say. Even though we say, oh no, it's brilliant. 15 years ago, it was really hard, and we have come a long way, especially in terms of women's football. And, you know, the visibility and the game has hugely changed. But even my cousin plays netball for England, and pay-wise, and, you know, she's working at the same time as playing sport, and you know, it's really difficult, and we should be kind to ourselves and really celebrate the women that are going out there and doing it and juggling everything else at the same time, and, you know, have each other's back.
I mean, Sonia Bonpastor, who just won the treble there for Chelsea in her first season, was very much so, you know, shining a light on the mums who then can do sport at
Absolutely.
the same time, but in having that support.
Yeah.
And sometimes just even having those conversations and having these conversations
Yeah.
offers support to others. I do wonder how you block out the noise. You know, if there is a particular hard day where there's a particular sexist idiot, never mind a football club on your back because you're fighting relegation.
Yes, exactly. And it's real. This is real. And you take it into your personal life as well. For us, there's no degree of separation because business and family, it's all combined. And it's always my fault. Whatever.
Well, Carolyn, what's the ambitions for Mansfield just before we let you go?
The Premier League. No. We hopefully, we're rebuilding a squad. So any footballers out there, please send me an email. Yeah, and I'd like to have a good go. Obviously, be competitive this season. But yeah, definitely to stay in League One and hopefully push as far as we can go.
Again.
Yeah.
Carolyn, it's been wonderful to speak to you. Very insightful, very interesting. I have to say, must be a very interesting life that you lead. I just would
Never a dull moment.
I would imagine day to day, from leaving the house to go back to the house. I can only imagine. So thank you so much for your time and for coming in to see us in the Kickback. We're looking ahead to a massive summer for women's sport with the Women's Euros and the Women's Rugby World Cup coming up. The Kickback caught up with some of the biggest names across football and rugby. Enjoy this.
Does it feel different going into the Euros this time around? Obviously, last time, I think, in some ways, you guys were kind of the underdogs. Nobody was maybe putting so much pressure on you in 2022, but this time, defending champions, it's a whole different ballgame. Do you feel that as a player?
No, I think that's maybe the view from the outside. Inside, we're very much feet on the ground and we want to keep pushing. We know that it's a different team now, it's a different time, it's a completely different tournament. So although the Euros in 2022 was incredible and something that I'll hold with me forever, it's different. We're at a different place as a team. We've got new players. Yeah, so it should be great. I think every tournament brings something different and everyone will be really, really excited. But no, I think we're very much focused on working hard and doing what we can control.
It's what you dream about as a little girl, and obviously anyone would want to do that. And I think my process is, and speaking to the girls, it's very similar. It's day to day. Ultimately, that's not my decision, and to get bogged down on that, it doesn't help. And I think the way I sort of process it is, how can I be the very best me in terms of we have a big game on Sunday, and if I'm focusing every day on being better, then that's not my decision, and that'll take care of itself. And if I go, I go, and if I don't, I don't. But I just want to keep getting better every single day as a player and as a person.
And it's a really interesting group on paper as well, with some big teams in there. Does that give the team even more motivation as well, the fact that there is going to be some huge games in the group stages this summer?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. As a fan and as a neutral, that's what you want. It's going to make the tournament even more visible, even more watched, and that will help to accelerate the growth of the women's game. And yeah, every team's getting better and better as the investment comes, and I think it's showing with the performances on the pitch. So for sure, it's going to be a really exciting summer, and it's every game now is not a given, and yeah, we know we're going to have to be at the top of our game.
And lastly, I know it might not be a home tournament this summer, but how much of the Lionesses support those going out to Switzerland or those watching them back home on the telly or listening to it on talkSPORT? How important is it going to be to feel the support of those Lionesses fans in numbers this summer?
Yeah, it's so important, and it's so powerful for the players, and it makes you realise you're part of something bigger. And also, whenever another England team plays, whether it's rugby or cricket, I'm also an England fan as well, so I know what it's like. And yeah, that makes you very proud to pull on the shirt and sort of represent your country in that moment that you're given. And I think we always look as players as well, it's part of the legacy, as like you're adding to the Lionesses' legacy, and it's really, really exciting.
With England, it says the pressure of everyone wants to beat them, and I feel like that you've seen it in the Nations League, you've seen it in friendlies as well, that everyone raises their game to go up against England. So I think it'd be difficult, but I think we've got the talent there to go all the way.
We're here today to do a little bit of a preview on the Women's Rugby World Cup. Obviously, home tournament as well. How are you feeling for that?
Yeah, very, very excited. I feel like it's all that people have been talking about since the last World Cup. We've had a lot of milestones between then and now, major tournaments with the Six Nations and WXV, and obviously our domestic season as well. But yeah, I'm excited. We're in off season at the moment, and we start our pre-season come June. And I'm just excited to get into it. I don't want the time to pass though, because it's a really special time, and I've got to soak in this opportunity and the journey that we're on right now, because it will pass. But I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Like blink and you miss it and it's over.
Exactly that.
But what do you think it's going to do for kind of the visibility of women's rugby in this country? We saw with the Euros, obviously in 2022, a home win there, what that did to propel women's football forwards. Are you hoping for like a similar result here?
Definitely. I mean, everyone wants the visibility to grow in their sports, and for me it's for women's sports in general. I want it to be accelerated, and that's the opportunity that we've got across the board with, you know, the women's sports teams that have got major tournaments. I was massively inspired by the Lionesses and what they were able to do after the Euros, and I do definitely think that we've got a similar opportunity. However, it is a completely different sport, and you know, I think we will probably exceed the imagination what will come from this. But I'm not thinking about that, if I'm honest. It's hard to answer the question because it's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the right now, getting my off time done right, going into pre-season, get my body in the right place, make sure that the team's in the right place, and if that happens, that happens. That's a byproduct, but it is eye-opening when you meet people and they're so inspired by what you do, but it's not something that you think of first off.
You mentioned it's a big summer all round for women's sport. Like, what else are you kind of, if you will have any free time, what are you looking forward to watching?
Well, since meeting the girls, I'm definitely keen to watch both the football and the cricket. I've not watched as much cricket in the past. I've watched a lot of football and like going to the women's games as well. And I'm just excited to, you know, be able to click on the TV and see women playing sport and making that the major thing. Because everyone gets behind a major tournament. It doesn't matter on your gender. It doesn't matter on the sport. People just like being able to click on the TV, and I gain a lot of inspiration from watching people be passionate about it. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, being passionate about something, because I know the hard work that gets put into it, and I can also relate emotionally and be on the roller coaster with them, even though it's not me playing, because I know what it takes to be in that position. I know the journey or a similar journey what they've been on, and I could become very invested, and I'm looking forward to that.
You know, it's been on everybody's talking lips for so long now, and now we're at the final 100 days before the opening game, and yeah, super excited. I think we can see the growth that the game has had in such a short period of time since the last Rugby World Cup. Obviously, record crowds, incredible viewing figures, engagement, and then we've managed to double that already this year. So the impact that this tournament is going to have, not just here in England but globally, is unimaginable, really. I think there's so much potential on the back of this Rugby World Cup, and I'm so excited. And obviously today, with it being the 100-day mark, everybody's going to be counting down every single day, ready for the 22nd of August when England take on the USA.
And looking ahead to the Euros this summer, how excited are you for that as well?
Yeah, obviously it's the dream of an absolute dream, and hopefully we'll see what happens. But I think for me, I'm just focusing on finishing the season with Chelsea and hopefully getting the final trophy, making it a domestic treble for us. But yeah, obviously it's the dream, and hopefully I'll get there, but just got to keep working hard, keep my feet on the ground, and making Sonia and Serena both happy.
And you guys have put Wales on the map this summer with qualifying for the Euros, like a historic moment. How was that? How was that moment when you knew you'd qualified?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. Like when it happened, I just sat on the ground because like all the emotions just flooded out of me. I like couldn't stand up. I was like, this is crazy. I think it actually hit us that we'd actually like done it. We've been trying for so long and like been so close every single time, which made it harder. And like going into the game, I think we had this little bit of confidence that we knew we were going to do it. It was our time. And then when it happened, I was like, this is crazy. And the way it happened as well, like the two games were crazy, and then the last like 10 minutes of the game was, yeah, it was not one for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, we're all so excited now for the summer, and we've got a camp in a couple of weeks, Nations League. So we're kind of focused on that, and then we can really think about the summer. But yeah, I mean, for the country as well, it's massive, and to see like the impact it's had on girls in Wales, and yeah, we were like on the national news for days after, which is unheard of really in women's football. So yeah, just to see things like that, and like Cardiff Castle was lit up for us, and yeah, stuff like that is just
so
crazy.
Special.
Yeah.
What's the ambition going in? Obviously, like you'd love to win, but kind of how are you taking it game by game? Like what's the plan?
Yeah, I think game by game always. I think you've got to do that in football. You can't look too far ahead, but
yeah, we just obviously want to kind of prove people wrong as well. Like we're in a tough group, and we knew that would be the case. Every team at the tournament is a good team, so we just want to go in game by game, show what we can do, because we're playing really well at the minute. We've had some good results against bigger nations, and yeah, I think we can upset a lot of people with how we'll do. So yeah, I think we're just really excited.
I think we've got one of the world's best managers in Serena Wiegman in terms of knowing not just in the moment, but what her experience is probably being lent on a lot at the moment in terms of how England are going to prepare for the tournament and already are preparing for the tournament. And I think players coming back into the squad's massive. Lauren Hemp, Alex Greenwood, Georgia Stanway, huge. 3 big players for the England team. And I think it's bit by bit. I think England are starting to put together the jigsaw that they want it to look like. And, a little bit like the Champions League, anything can happen. It really can. Anything can happen. But we know that we've got a very, very difficult group. And getting out of that has to be, is the first priority and then onwards. But, I think we've got one of the best tacticians in the world to guide the team. And I'm sure they'll be ready come the start of July.
What was that feeling like, that moment when you knew you were going to the Euros?
Oh, it was amazing. A feeling that I'll never be able to fully replicate in terms of the way that I speak about it. It was a massive moment for me personally, and being able to have such an impact in scoring the penalty and things after a second ACL injury, like to have that was an unbelievable feeling, and yeah, I'm very proud of that, and as are we all.
Yeah. And how are you feeling going in? What's kind of the ambition?
Really excited. These are once in a lifetime opportunities, and like you say, it's the first time we've accomplished it, and hopefully it won't be the last. I'm pretty sure it won't be. But yeah, we've got a really exciting group that I think loads of people are looking forward to watching. So the games will be really tough, and they're against top nations, but we're going in there with every possibility and every hope that we're going to take something from it.
You obviously beat Ireland to go. We work with Ruesha Littlejohn. Have you got any message for her?
Oh, really sorry, but not really.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, jump in the comments, let us know your thoughts, and enjoy the Champions League final this weekend. Arsenal fans, whatever you do, just enjoy it. It's good to be part of it. Barcelona, likely favourites, but you just never know. I've got everything crossed for the Gunners. Enjoy the game, like, subscribe, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Not just her, but the whole squad are underperforming.
I've been there, I've been that statistic. I think it's something like 1 million girls in the UK drop out of sport every year.
Hello and welcome back to the Kickback.
You're looking a bit heavy, Callum.
Wait, fat?
Oh, you've come in to start our hair.